This week in Jamaica Now.
We're working hard and we're trying to do things to the country and we don't get the cargo come, right? First and foremost, it take forever to give you the cargo, right? And when the cargo come out and we start looking at the cargo, Starlink missing, stove missing.
Tempers flare as Buju Banton, Minister Vaz, trade claims over alleged theft of hurricane relief.
I want to make it very clear that the shipment left the airport intact as it came.
The Hurricane Melissa death toll climbs to 45 as ODPEM confirms investigations into 9 more cases. Police raise a national meat safety alert after a van with 4 cow carcasses is intercepted in Manchester. And the Reggae Boyz forced into must-win final game for World Cup spot. I'm Jovan Johnson and this is Jamaica Now. Transport Minister Daryl has disputed a claim that relief items sent by reggae superstar Buju Banton for Hurricane Melissa victims was tampered with and items stolen by personnel at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston. On Wednesday, Mr. Banton posted a video on social media site Instagram condemning the actions of the alleged thieves, listing a stove and Starlink device among the missing items from the shipment.
Them come on a cargo plane, Dun's head, right? And no thieving brother and thieving family over the work at the airport. We don't understand. So when things are do things on them hard, you think up, what do you think up here though? You think that Terry long life we up here live, I want them Luman life they up here live. We're working hard and we're trying to do things to the country and we don't get the cargo come, right? First and foremost, it take forever to give you the cargo, right? And when the cargo come out and we start looking at the cargo, Starlink missing, stove missing, all kind of thing missing, and the barrel them half empty. See, nothing ever happened to Kingston. There's no reason for nobody at Kingston for your thief, nothing from the people of Jamaica. You understand me? But the sound stay on of a dirty, crowded, reprobate blood mentality to break my f***ing heart. You understand me? I should have come down and come go to some scandal back because that's what the blood deserve. You know? You see it? Right? We don't have no clout and we know that the people have been dire streets. So we have a thief from poor people and thief from people who go through such a hard time. We're not blocking at the barrel. Blocking at the barrel and so we answer a question. Where is the oversight? Where are the security measures? Because you can't go through the airport and fart. So how somebody leave the airport with so much things, all these things where these packages come tampered with. Right? And you think that nice? A whole lot of people up here, so Barrington flying, there's a plane that come and Jamaica come go to things and crash. So Barrington make 2 flights, them fly Monday and them fly Tuesday. 2 big cargo plane. All if you know say, when we open the package, everything tampered, everything, what I do, what really I deal with.
At a news conference on Thursday, Minister Vaz dismissed the allegations. He said the goods arrived on Tuesday and were cleared immediately by the customs broker.
I want to publicly state today, without fear of contradiction, that I did an overnight investigation, including cameras and including the custom broker who handled the shipment. And I want to make it very clear that the shipment left the airport intact as it came, fully wrapped, and everything that was there left the airport in the custody of the charitable organization. It went to a warehouse in Spanish Town, which the government has no involvement in whatsoever. So as far as what we did in terms of making sure that the goods that were meant for the people, the poor suffering people, were delivered. And I'm going to ask for everybody to please just do what you are doing and do so in the best interest of the people of Jamaica. And do not cause mischief or nuisance, because I will be there to defend the government as long as it is on the seaside or the port side. Absolute rubbish was posted, and I say so without fear of contradiction.
The issue did not end as Buju Banton fired back at Minister Vaz in another Instagram post, insisting that the minister was unaware of the real situation. Buju said that the goods sent for Hurricane Melissa victims were not taken straight from the plane to trucks, as Mr. Vaz claimed. He said they were moved to an area that he claimed his team did not have sight of for hours. The entertainer said he had no reason to create mischief or make up stories and accused Minister Vaz of trying to make the issue political. He said the relief flight also carried packages for People's National Party's members of Parliament donated by Florida-based commissioners and donors. Meanwhile, a pilot and his daughter were killed on Monday when their small aircraft carrying hurricane relief supplies for Jamaica crashed shortly after takeoff in Coral Springs, Florida. The victims, 53-year-old Pastor Alexander Worm and his 22-year-old daughter Serena, had departed the Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport bound for Jamaica. They were carrying Starlink units for emergency communication, roofing screws, tarps, and medical supplies destined for communities battered by Hurricane Melissa. Their deaths have sent shockwaves through the Caribbean relief community, which has hailed Mr. Worm as a quiet hero whose final act reflected a lifetime of service. The founder of Cayman Islands-based Ignite the Fire Ministries, Mr. Worm, spent years flying aid to storm-hit islands, often stripping out his aircraft seats to cram in food, tools, and medical supplies. Serena was remembered as a compassionate young humanitarian. In the immediate aftermath of the incident, Jamaican Transport Minister Daryl was accused online of being insensitive after he posted on X that the plane did not receive permission to land in Jamaica. At a news conference on Tuesday, he opened his presentation expressing sympathy.
On behalf of the government of Jamaica, I want to extend deepest condolences to the family of the father and daughter who tragically lost their lives in the plane crash yesterday in Florida. The aircraft was bound for Jamaica on a hurricane relief mission. Mr. Alexander Worm was known for his unwavering kindness and his lifelong dedication to serving others, and he has been providing aid to Jamaica since the relief efforts began. My understanding is that he resides in Cayman and is well known by the Jamaican community in Cayman and has always been one who gives and gives and gives. So again, I want to say our thoughts and prayers are with their family and friends during this difficult time. I understand, based on confirmed reports, that himself and his daughter were tragically lost in this accident. And to state that despite the established process, we have landed several relief flights and would have landed this one in good faith based on its mission.
The number of people killed during Hurricane Melissa has increased to 45. Head of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, Commander Alvin Gale, gave the update on Thursday. He said 9 cases are under investigation. There were 18 deaths in St. Elizabeth and 15 in Westmoreland. There were 6 deaths in St. James, 2 each in Hanover and Trelawney, and 1 each in St. Anne and Portland. Meanwhile, Commander Gale said more than 90,000 care packages were issued and over 570,000 hot meals so far. Those updates come amid concerns about the pace of the distribution of relief supplies and whether all the persons in need are being reached.
The JDF is now maintaining 2 national Melissa relief warehouses for the ODPEM with parish operational hubs in St. Elizabeth, Clarendon, Kingston, St. James. Other hubs will be set up in Trelawney, Westmoreland, and Hanover over the next 48 hours. The JDF also maintains some 22 disaster relief outposts and has completed some 207 flights to sustain air and ground logistics during the continued operations. Today, some 22 communities across St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, and Trelawney will be serviced. With an 88% rate of confidence, recent geospatial and radar-based analytics indicate an upward trend in the number of confirmed structures impacted as the assessment moves eastward. To date, approximately 960,000 buildings have been assessed. Of this total, some 191,000 buildings, or about 20% of those assessed, have sustained damage ranging from minor to severe. Within the subset, 146,000 structures, represent some 15% of those assessed, have experienced major to severe structural damage. These include cases of extensive or roof or wall loss, and in some instances, total collapse. In the parishes of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, St. James, and Hanover, they continue to record the highest concentrations of damage, consistent with the storm trajectory and the wind field data recorded during landfall. It is estimated that some 90,000 households and some 360 persons were directly impacted.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force has issued an urgent warning after police intercepted a van carrying the carcasses of 4 large brown cows under suspicious circumstances in Manchester on November 9. Officers attached to the Manchester Police Division and the Area 2 Agricultural Protection Branch stopped a Toyota Hiace along the porous main road. The driver fled, leaving behind the carcasses, which still had their heads attached. The discovery has raised serious concerns about the origin and safety of meat entering the market, especially as Hurricane Melissa has disrupted supply chains and left large numbers of dead livestock across several parishes. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton told Parliament that inspections at more than 5,000 food establishments found just over half were satisfactory, with 5,600 kilograms of food condemned after the storm. And the Health Minister says conditions at the storm-battered Cornwall Regional Hospital, CRH, have improved since Hurricane Melissa, even as medical doctors warn that the facility remains in a devastated state. Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James is the main hospital in the western end of the island, the section that faced the brunt of the hurricane. 5 hospitals and dozens of community health centres were seriously damaged. Speaking in the House of Representatives on Tuesday, Dr. Tufton said the situation at Cornwall Regional is better than it was 2 weeks ago.
I saw a coverage yesterday on the state of Cornwall Regional which painted a very gloomy picture. It's not where it ought to be. But I must say that Cornwall Regional has come a long way since the hurricane. We have already started to restore roofing on the building. I think up to 50% of roof loss has been recovered with the work of contractors supported by Doctors Without Borders. We have water that is now more consistent. We have an NWC officer based at Cornwall, and even though it's challenging, and the reference to an unfortunate death and patients be treated beside that particular deceased is unfortunate, and we regret it, but it took place in the accident and emergency ward where these things occur from time to time, where patients are being treated and a deceased is there until the final rites are read and they are removed to the morgue. So while it is unfortunate and not something we want to do, it is something that happens from time to time, whether there's a hurricane or not, just for clarity.
Now, Minister Tufton's comments follow a letter from the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, JMDA, which has requested an urgent meeting with the ministry. The association says reports from its members show severely degraded infrastructure, flooded wards and a bed capacity cut by more than 65%, forcing some patients, including pregnant women, to sit on chairs. Schools across Jamaica hit hard by Hurricane Melissa were to start receiving cleanup grants on Friday, with payments ranging from $300,000 to $1 million. That's according to an announcement Thursday by Education Minister Senator Dr. Dinham Dixon. She says the size of each grant will depend on the level of damage and the work required. The minister says more than 600 schools suffered significant damage. As of Wednesday, 665 schools resumed operations, but many in the western parishes remain severely affected. The minister says the priority is to ensure that students sitting regional exams or the primary exit profile exams return to classes within the next 2 weeks. And in one of Jamaica's darkest moments, global disaster expert Ronald Jackson is back home under a United Nations assignment to help guide the country's recovery from Hurricane Melissa. The storm struck on October 28, killing at least 45 people, damaging close to 200,000 buildings and directly impacting over 300,000 persons. Losses are estimated at up to $1.1 trillion. Mr. Jackson, a former head of the ODPEM and its Caribbean counterpart SEDIMA, leads the Disaster Risk Reduction and Recovery Team in Geneva, Switzerland. It's an agency of the United Nations Development Programme. Mr. Jackson will spend 2 weeks in Jamaica, working with a wider United Nations team on the island. Their task is to design a comprehensive national recovery framework that looks beyond relief to long-term resilience. He'll work alongside the Planning Institute of Jamaica and other key agencies to coordinate system-wide recovery, address weaknesses exposed by the storm, and help chart a more resilient development path. The opposition People's National Party PNP says the government's proposed Parliamentary Committee on Hurricane Melissa Recovery is unnecessary. It says Parliament already has an oversight body that looks into expenditures and is chaired by an opposition member. The issue came to the public Tuesday after Leader of Government Business in the House of Representatives Floyd Green read a November 7 letter from his counterpart in the opposition, Philip Paulwell. In that letter, Mr. Paulwell said the party's position was that a more broad-based committee that included members outside of Parliament would be better. Minister Green also read his response on behalf of the government, which questioned the opposition's integrity.
I must express deep concern and disappointment at the opposition's sudden change in position. This reversal is particularly surprising, given that during your press conference on November 3rd, 2025, the leader of the opposition explicitly called for additional oversight of the process. It has always been our position that Parliament already provides adequate and robust oversight through established committees, such as the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC, and the Infrastructure and Physical Development Committee, both of which are mandated to ensure transparency and accountability. In fact, the Infrastructure Committee has already called for a meeting to begin its work in this regard. The Prime Minister's decision to establish a joint select committee was aimed at fostering national consensus and unity, and in direct response to the opposition's public call for greater oversight. The precedence for this approach was established during the COVID-19 pandemic, when a similar oversight committee was appointed to consider the COVID-19 pandemic and related matters. It is therefore both perplexing and troubling that the opposition now appears to be retreating from its own stated position. Such inconsistency not only undermines constructive engagement, but also shows that the opposition is not able to take a clear and principled stance on these matters.
But Mr. Paulwell has expressed disappointment with how Mr. Green handled the matter. He said the opposition's full communication was not shared.
I'm extremely disappointed with Minister Floyd Green for raising a matter in Parliament yesterday, knowing fully well I had stepped out of the chamber and could not respond. He was disingenuous because he failed to communicate to the Parliament the full extent of the correspondence that was shared. I wrote to him on the 7th of November, expressing our view that it was unnecessary for there to be a joint select committee of the Parliament to provide oversight on the expenditures in relation to Hurricane Melissa. It's unnecessary because we already have the PAAC, which is chaired by the opposition, and we would do nothing to undermine that role. I wrote to him again on the 9th, Sunday, the 9th of November, providing further clarity on our call for a national body to do general oversight. And that body would comprise not only government and opposition, but the private sector, NGOs, and others. This was not to be a parliamentary group. It was to be a national body outside of Parliament. And that is how we believe you could achieve a united approach. The Minister did not reveal this letter in his discussion in Parliament yesterday, and we believe that that is wrong. I intend now to publish all the correspondence so you can see that the opposition's position is quite clear and unequivocal. And we maintain the view that we should have this national body, and we will perform our role in the PAAC to provide oversight on these expenditures.
The Transport Authority says it effected 52 prosecutions in the first 3 days since it began cracking down on the overcharging of fares following Hurricane Melissa. It said 32 motor vehicles were also seized in its Operation Reset, which was launched on Monday. Managing Director of the authority, Ralston Smith, says the authority will ramp up its operations across the island to stamp out the illegal practice of overcharging fares. Mr. Smith says operators who continue to overcharge passengers could have their road licenses suspended or revoked. In other news, the prosecution has withdrawn its case against dancehall artiste Marlon Kiprich Plunkett. He was charged over a song police claimed endorsed gang violence and praised alleged one-order Don Othniel Tickman Laban. The matter collapsed in the St. Catherine Parish Court on Tuesday after prosecutors admitted they lacked a voice recognition machine needed to support their evidence. Kiprich's attorney Patrick Peterkin pushed for dismissal, and Senior Parish Court Judge Desiree Allain formally freed the entertainer. Mr. Peterkin said justice was served and that the case had negatively affected his client. Kiprich was charged in January under the anti-gang communication law. The Don was killed by the police in January. Police investigators have theorized that a domestic dispute may have played a role in the brutal killing of a 29-year-old teacher and her 14-year-old daughter at their home in Mount View Estate in Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Thursday. They have been identified as Tara Pinnock, who worked at a primary school in Portmore, and Talia Wright, who was a student at a high school in St. Catherine. Their bodies had multiple stab wounds. Their necks were also slashed. And a major investigation is underway after 2 policemen were shot dead along Waltham Park Road in St. Andrew on Thursday night. It's reported that the policemen were off duty at the time. They have been identified as 30-year-old Charles Stewart from the Spanish Town Police Station in St. Catherine and 32-year-old Jamari Gordon from the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch, CTOC. Mr. Stewart's father was recently promoted to inspector in the JCF. The police say both officers were at the location when an altercation developed between them and a group of men. It's alleged that the men brandished firearms and opened gunfire, hitting the officers. The attackers reportedly escaped on foot in the area, and the injured constables were transported to hospital where they were pronounced dead. Several senior law enforcement officials visited the scene, many visibly shaken. The shooting has been condemned by the Police High Command and Minister of National Security and Peace, Dr. Horace Chang, who said the full weight of the state will be brought against the perpetrators. A government forensic analyst has confirmed that blood traces found inside Constable Noel Maitland's New Kingston apartment match the DNA profile of missing social media personality Donnelly Donaldson. The analyst testified in the Home Circuit Court on Tuesday that Miss Donaldson's DNA was identified on a brown drape, a black and white Puma shoe and a throw pillow cover seized from the Chelsea Manor apartment. The pillow cover carried DNA from multiple individuals, including an unidentified male. Investigators used a toothbrush provided by Miss Donaldson's mother, along with DNA from both parents to verify her profile with a certainty greater than 99.999%. The court also heard that some items, including a diluted blood stain on an outdoor mat and a Crocs slipper, produced no DNA profile. The items were collected on July 28, 2022, 2 weeks after Miss Donaldson disappeared. Mr. Maitland, her boyfriend, is on trial for murder and preventing the lawful burial of a corpse. A man seen in a viral video jumping from a police vehicle into the Rio Cobre in St. Catherine has been identified as 73-year-old Melton Smith. Police say he took his own life on November 12 while in custody for the alleged assault of a 13-year-old girl. The teenager, who was reported missing on November 3, was found at Mr. Smith's home after a tip. She initially told investigators she had been sexually abused by him. Both were taken to the Center for the Investigation of Sexual Offences and Child Abuse in Spanish Town for further questioning. Just after midday on Wednesday, Mr. Smith, who was handcuffed to a wheel inside the police vehicle, reportedly jumped from the moving unit as it crossed Flat Bridge and plunged into the river. His body was later recovered. The Independent Commission of Investigations and the Police Inspectorate and Professional Standards Oversight Bureau have launched investigations. 22-year-old Tina Dinham was announced on Thursday as the 2026 Jamaica Rhodes Scholar. Governor-General Sir Patrick Allen made the announcement at King's House. Miss Dinham, a past student of Mount Alvernia High in St. James and a Geographic Sciences major at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, says she is in disbelief but grateful for the honor. Her win comes just weeks after Hurricane Melissa devastated her home communities in St. James and Hanover. She says she hopes her achievement will bring light at the end of the tunnel for those affected. Miss Dinham plans to pursue a master's degree in water science or sustainability at the University of Oxford. Jamaica's automatic qualification to the Football World Cup will come down to a must-win game against Curaçao after the Reggae boys were held to a 1-1 draw by Trinidad and Tobago on Thursday night. Ronaldo Cephas put Jamaica ahead early in the second half, but Kevin Molino's 85th minute equalizer left the boys stuck on 10 points, one behind group leaders Curaçao, who crushed Bermuda 7-0. A win on Monday will send the Reggae boys straight to the World Cup. Anything less and they'll be forced into a dangerous qualification playoff next year. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner, and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notifications, and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson.